It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. John sat comfortably on his couch, his feet propped up on the table, watching his favorite football match. The tension of the game filled the air, and his eyes were glued to the screen. The sound of cheering fans blared from the TV, drowning out the soft, distant noises of his young son, Sam, playing in the backyard. John's faithful German shepherd, Max, lay at his feet, occasionally glancing up at his owner, as though sensing the importance of the match. Max was no ordinary dog. He had been part of the family for years, loyal, protective, and intelligent. But on that particular day, even Max's presence went unnoticed by John, whose focus remained solely on the game. As the match reached its most thrilling moments, John heard a strange commotion behind him. Startled, he turned to see Max rushing into the room. In his jaws, the dog carried Sam, his tiny body dripping wet, his face pale and frightened. John's heart stopped. His first reaction, however, was, "What have you done, Max?" he shouted, his voice echoing through the room. He leaped off the couch, snatched Sam from the dog's mouth, and placed the child on the couch. He noticed scratches on Sam's arms, evidence of Max's strong grip. Misinterpreting the situation entirely, John bellowed, "You heard him," grabbing a nearby magazine and swatting at Max. The dog cowered, his ears flat against his head, his tail tucked between his legs. John's voice grew louder, and his blows more forceful as he accused Max of attacking his son. The dog whimpered but stood his ground, looking up at John with sorrowful eyes. Sam, too young to explain what had happened, began to cry softly, but John's anger drowned out his son's faint protests. After a few moments, John stopped and turned back to his child, still trembling from the shock. It was then that he noticed something strange. Sam's clothes were soaked, and his tiny hands clutched a leaf that could only have come from the small pond in the backyard. Confused, John rushed to the window and looked out toward the pond. His heart sank. The small gate surrounding the water was open, and a child-sized shoe lay on the edge of the pond. A horrifying realization dawned on him. Sam had wandered too close to the water and had fallen in. He remembered the warnings he had read about how easily a child could drown, even in shallow water. John turned back to Max, who sat in the corner, his eyes still fixed on his owner. Guilt surged through John's chest. The scratches on Sam's arms weren't from an attack, they were the marks of rescue. Max had done what John had failed to do. He had saved Sam's life. Tears filled John's eyes as he dropped to his knees. "Max," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I didn't understand." Slowly, Max approached, his head low, his movements cautious. John reached out and pulled the dog into a tight embrace. "Thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "You saved my son. I'll never forget this." Max licked John's face as if to say, "It's okay. I understand." Sam, now calm, giggled and reached out to pet his hero. The sight of his son smiling and safe filled John with an overwhelming sense of gratitude and remorse. From that day forward, John never doubted Max's loyalty again. The bond between the man, the boy, and the dog grew stronger than ever. Every time John looked at Max, he was reminded of the lesson he had learned that day. Love and loyalty often reveal themselves in ways we least expect. Max was not just a dog, he was a guardian, a hero, and a reminder of the unconditional love that only a true friend can give.